Hello, folks. I'm OdinSpack, and welcome back to 33 years and counting of my favorite games. This is part 15, the year 2008, an important year in my gaming history, I suppose you could say. 2008 is when I did my very first Let's Play, The Adventures of Rad Gravity. That was on August 23rd of 2008. I mentioned in the previous part that 2009 was the first full year I did of Let's Plays, and it's kind of when I started taking it seriously. But 2008 is obviously important for being that starting, stepping stone. That it is a milestone. Whenever you do your first to something, it becomes an important thing. That where your life goes, right? Is like you had to start somewhere, and that's where I started. Um, but I wasn't really taking it any kind of serious back when I started. It was just something fun that I wanted to do. So I did, and now I'm doing this series right here on YouTube, probably because of that YouTube project that I did, that Let's Play. Now, 2008 is like a hybrid year for me because games that got released after 2008 are like my modern day of gaming. That's kind of how I feel about games released after I started Let's Playing. It's like, oh, okay, that's the post Let's Play games. Those are all the games that came out while I've been doing this. Whereas games that came out before 2008 are like games I grew up with. Those childhood games, games I played while I was in school because I graduated 2007. So 2008 is like a hybrid year because like I said, I started Let's Playing in August, so you got about half the year before Let's Playing, a little less than half the year after that I started Let's Playing. So the games here are like partially nostalgic, but also like partially current as well. Um, so this will be the last video where it'll definitely change. Once we get to 2007, you'll notice my inflection on describing certain games is gonna change going forward. So this might be a weird one, honestly. But I got all that out of the way. Let's get going into the honorable mentions for 2008, which I have two honorable mentions. The first of which is a remake of Final Fantasy IV, and that's on the Nintendo DS. The Nintendo DS saw two Final Fantasy remakes that I can think of off the top of my head, which is Final Fantasy 3 and 4. Um, I'm putting 4 on here because one, I really like Final Fantasy IV in general. One of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo. Just one of my favorite games in the Final Fantasy series. So it's kind of got that going for it. But what I really like about Final Fantasy IV DS is that it is really hard. And I like that because a lot of Final Fantasy games I don't think are really too challenging, exceptions of like post game content and optional, bosses that you don't have to do. In general, like the main story is nothing really complicated in a Final Fantasy game, not typically. But Final Fantasy 4DS was like, okay, we know people have played this game a few times. It's had a few remakes and remasters and ports. We're gonna really hammer it home here with this one. And like this game is just difficult. I feel like this game is harder if you have played Final Fantasy 4 prior to playing this version. Like if you've never played Final Fantasy 4 and you play this, you won't have any expectations of how things are supposed to go. But if you have played it, you're gonna you can't treat it the same as playing like the original game. And I think that's just like one of the coolest parts about it. Boss fights are are not easy. They're not easy at all. And just even getting through some of the dungeons, like if you don't do some level grinding at some points, you're just gonna get stomped. And I like that. I like the fact that I had to think about what I was gonna do. I like the fact that I had to think about the equipment that I had equipped on my characters. It became more than just increasing, the main guy's attack power or my mage's magic power. Like it's more than that. You got to think about elemental resistances. Yeah, you got to think about various defenses, exploiting weaknesses, lots of strategies. Uh, it was a really cool experience. I loved playing through it. Um, Big recommend. You can check it. It's on Steam as well. I think it might be called Final Fantasy IV DS on there, or just Final Fantasy IV, but it's the 3D ish looking one. It looks 3D. So, and my other honorable mention here is going to go to a game that came out in 2008, but I didn't actually really experience it until 2015, and that is Wii Fit. Uh, I have a long-standing history with Wii Fit. In 2015, one summer, I decided I was gonna get into shape because I didn't like how I felt, and I was like, I have Wii Fit. This is a good starting spot. So I played it like every day for a long time every day, and I got decently into shape. I felt good about myself, and ever since that, I've fallen off the bandwagon, and it's harder getting older. It's harder keeping up with that. You'll know that I was doing a Ring Fit Let's Play, and I eventually fell off the bandwagon there. I'll be honest, I don't feel great about how I am right now as far as my physical weight and appearance. I'll be real with you. Um, but when I was doing Wii Fit, I felt a lot better about myself, and it was it was a real like it wasn't like anything crazy complicated. And honestly, looking back at Wii Fit, it's like the worst one of like the ones that have come out. Wii Fit Plus and Wii Fit U just do it better. They have routines that are so much easier to follow. But I have to give credit where credit's due. Wii Fit was the one that I stuck with for as non for as non-complicated as it was, but it just kept me going, and I really enjoyed doing it, and I think it's really good. Do I think it's as good as Ring Fit Adventure? No, but it is the game that got me all those years ago to actually lose the weight. Unfortunately, like I said, I didn't keep it off, but I still do appreciate it for what it is. And the Wii Fit balance board's kind of a cool peripheral in general. I mean, it's mostly associated with Wii Fit. You can use it with some other stuff, but it's kind of cool. All right, let's get going into my bronze medal for 2008. That's going to go to Mega Man 9. This was a WiiWare game released on the Wii. I believe it was also released later on PS3 and 360, and then like of that year, or at least the year after. And then in modern day, you can play it in like the Legacy Collection too. Um, but I played it in its original form on WiiWare. This game was like similar to how I talked about Mega Man 10. It was just a callback. It was just like, hey, we did Mega Man again, but we're removing all the new graphics from it, and it's just gonna be just jump, shoot. There's no slide. There's no Buster charging in this. It's like playing Mega Man 2 again. It's very that's definitely the vibe they were going for with Mega Man 9. Is like, we know people really liked Mega Man 2. Let's make Mega Man 2 too. I think that's the best way to describe Mega Man 9. However, it does stand on its own for sure. Like to be clear, like it's definitely trying to be another Mega Man 2, but it does stand on its own with just the bosses. The music is fantastic. Like this might have like this might be a contender, honestly, for just the best Mega Man soundtrack. Like, you can think of like the NES games, and you might like some of those soundtracks more. But honestly, I think this is a contender for having the best overall soundtrack in Mega Man. And I don't say that lightly because I really like the series. But between like Splash Woman and Tornado Man and Galaxy Man, like there's just some really cool ones. And We're the Robots, or that might be Mega Man 10. The Wily stage theme, regardless. I don't know the exact name, but lots of great chip tunes in this one. It's a fun game. It's hard. I didn't think it was as hard as Mega Man 10, which is probably why I like this more. So there you go. There's my bronze medal. Silver medal is gonna go to this is an unofficial one. This is the Mother 3 fan translation. It officially came out in 2008. I don't have the year Mother 3 came out on Game Boy Advance. I don't know, 2004, 5, 3. I don't know. It's one of those years. I probably could have looked that up beforehand, but this is the fan translation that came out that let you play the game in English, and it's the one that people are still using to play this game in English because, as you know, Nintendo still hasn't released an official uh, translation of this game yet. For some reason, why? Like, come on, like there's demand for it. It's a bit odd. Um, I really liked Earthbound growing up. It's a very hard game to get your hands on now. Uh, but I remember renting it and enjoying it and then emulating it later. And Earthbound was actually one of those games I tried to get for my birthday one year and I couldn't find. And I ended up getting Super Mario Kart instead, which you might be thinking, man, that sucks because Earthbound's worth a lot more money now. But my cousin like stole my Super Mario Kart anyway, so he probably would have stolen my Earthbound. So when I would have been like more upset by that. What's that got to do with Mother 3? Not really much. The reason I'm praising this fan translation is because it let me play this game and let me play a sequel to one of those favorites I had growing up. Um, and, I was very intrigued by it. And also, a big part of this game is it's one of those games where I got to talk with my brother about it a lot because he introduced me that there was even a fan translation in the first place. This game, I told a big story about this game at my wedding that I'm not gonna go into right now, but this game might be the reason why I didn't finish college. I mean, it's really my fault, um, but at the same time, it's partially to blame. But it's a really good game. It's got. I don't want to talk about it too much, guys. If you haven't played Mother 3, you should. If you're an RPG fan, especially if you like Earthbound. Um, the fan translation's amazing. It does not feel like phoned in. It doesn't feel like a fan made it. Like it feels like Nintendo did it. I never once while playing it thought, "Oh, this is a fan translation." Like I never thought that at all. They did a fantastic job. Uh, Mother 3 is amazing. Like you should just play Mother 3. So there you go. Uh, like I said, I don't want to talk about it because like it's just a great game. I really enjoy it for the reasons that it's Mother 3. So there you go. My gold medal for 2008 is gonna go to Super Smash Bros. Brawl. This is like the hybrid game. I mentioned this is a hybrid year for me, where games after, and we already talked about all that stuff, but this is the hybrid game for me because this game truly feels like it's a game I grew up with, but yet it's a game that I played in the modern era. It's both, and that's probably because it was like an eternity before Smash 4 came out, or at least it felt like. And also, it felt like an eternity between this and Melee as well. So I'm sure there's something to blame for that as well. But man, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I know people don't look back fondly on the multiplayer, like tripping and stuff like that. But when this game was coming out, man, this was the biggest hype ever. I know people get really hyped on Ultimate and all those trailers and stuff, but I really don't think there was, for me, more hype than when this one was coming out. I was glued to my monitor every day waiting for that new Smash Bros. Dojo news to come out about a new stage, a new mechanic, a new character once in a while. Like I was so excited for all the roster reveals, and like this probably has like I know people go nuts for the third party editions that have come out in Smash Bros. Ultimate and in Smash 4, but this game's first party reveal lineup was like everything I wanted. I was so excited about every character, pretty much every character that's added to this game. I remember watching the trailer, seeing Meta Knight in there. I was super excited to play as Meta Knight. I love Kirby Superstar. Uh, Pit from Kid Icarus. I was like one of those like, what? They put the guy from Kid Icarus in this? Because like Kid Icarus is one of those NES games I grew up with, and I was like, okay, sure, why not? That's really cool. I remember being excited for Wario being in the game. I thought like that's a no-brainer. Sure, Wario should definitely be in there. Didn't really care too much for Zero Suit Samus during that trailer, But I was like, okay, that's cool. I didn't really understand. I never played Zero Mission, so I didn't really get it. And then Snake was really cool. I know he's a third party, but it didn't that honestly that didn't really even dawn on me like, oh yeah, he's not a Nintendo character. Like that didn't really phase me. But then like when they added like they showed off like Diddy Kong, I remember that being on the dojo, being super hyped for Diddy Kong being in it. King DDD, Ike. I love Path of Radiance. The fact that they added Ike into the game, I was super stoked for that. Um, like I said, I loved all of the first party additions into this game. Like just like probably my favorite newcomer cast of first party was in Brawl. Um and I can talk about the characters all day because I feel like that's a big part of Smash, but Subspace Emissary was a lot of fun. I remember booking a day off to hang out with my bro and my sis to play Subspace Emissary. It didn't quite go the way we wanted it to, but it was still fun regardless. Um, it was just it's a blast, honestly. And I mean, I literally played it until the Wii Wi-Fi shut down with my friends that I still talk to today because Brawl went on that long. Um, because it took forever for them to finally put out a new Smash Bros. Game. So it's kind of crazy thinking about that. But that's just that's just the way it was. So all right, well, I don't have much more to say about Brawl. I should probably wrap this one up. I feel like it's been going a little while now. But thank you so much for watching this part, 2008. It was like I said, this was a significant part. Once we start going into these next years, I can tell you the format's just gonna change. It's gonna feel different. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous for how long they might go, but I'm excited. I feel like it'll be easy at first. 2007, I don't think it's gonna be too hard, but I think once we start getting those next few years, it's gonna get pretty rough. But thank you so much for watching. I've been OdinSpack, and I will see you next time. Until then, goodbye.